Welcome to the Family Office, planning for the people who matter most.
Here's the thing that scares me more about it, Len. Here's the thing that scares me more about it. And I'm actually glad that they went in there and did this because you see this stuff happening right now. By the way, the cruise ship, I'm not making light of it, but like the cruise ship, they got stuck. It's stuck off of, they haven't ported off of an island with the Hanta virus.
The Canary Islands?
It's on the Canary. Is it still on the Canary Islands? Are they still out there? Right?
That's
still quarantined? Right? Mm-hmm. So here's the thing that scares me the most. And now it's like how many states? 4 states? There's 3 or 4 states now that have confirmations of the Hanta virus in the United States.
California, Arizona, Texas, West Virginia. I think there's 6, but close enough.
Because one of the people that was on that boat, one of the passengers on that boat, got off the boat and died in an airport. Right?
I hear that.
Yeah. And they died in an airport getting off the boat. Right? So that's what I've heard. And I think that was last week. And some people are calling it Hanta virus, but some other, you've heard that it's the Andes virus. It could be like the Andes virus from the Andes, which is where the boat came from, which is not the Andes, but it's from Chile or something like that, or Argentina. It comes from the Andes Mountains of Chile. From all my Chileans out there, Chile, saying it right. Here's the thing that concerns me the most is that kind of stuff. Is bioweapons like that. And I don't think Iran really, I mean, yeah, they want to make, like, building a nuclear weapon, I think is just so old school, right? In the world of terrorist activities or the world of mass murder, death, kill, whereas that kind of stuff scares me. And you see it happening right now, right? And the CDC and all these guys have responded and they're monitoring it, they're looking at it because this is a big freaking deal, or it's turning into a big deal. So that's what scares me more is countries that are unhinged like Iran using real chemical warfare. I'm not talking about sarin gas and stuff like that, like infectious disease chemical warfare, like hantavirus, stuff like this, because this is pretty weird. Like today, I was like, we got to talk about this today. This is absolutely bonkers. This is nuts because it's a little weird because now it's here in the United States. So how is this happening right now? And it's making a resurgence. We haven't heard about that stuff in a long time. And it's the same classification as Ebola or something like that. It's monitored under the same team or something like that. So that's what scares me more so than the nuclear stuff, because I think everybody knows that when the nuclear stuff happens, everybody's gone.
Right. I think it's important to, as we shift gears to talk about the Hanta virus, it's really, really important to understand that the Hanta virus is not the coronavirus. And because the way the Hanta virus is spread is typically through rodent droppings. And so then once a person's been exposed to rodent droppings, they can spread it to someone else, but there typically has to be prolonged engagement and activity.
It has to be intimate.
Yeah, in a tight space. And so, unless you're a family living under the same household or on a ship in the same cabin, the likelihood that it goes from one person to another just through casual interaction is pretty small. And so I think that it's important for us as a global society to realize that this isn't another pandemic that's coming down the pike. It's not something that we'll even be talking about 3-4 weeks ago. Of course, we definitely don't want to make light of it because of those families that have been impacted and all of those things. But I think it's really important to become aware of infectious diseases, like measles has starting to outbreak here in the United States. And you talked about Ebola just now. You talked about warfare with regard to, germ warfare and biological warfare. I think we need to, as a country and as a global citizenry, we need to become educated about how these things spread, and then also to what degree of fear we should have that's healthy, on the one hand, to the other extreme, which is having, an extreme overreaction to something that we shouldn't be concerned about. So I don't want to belittle your point, though. I do want to underscore your point, which is I'm scared to death of the idea of biological warfare. If there's some type of virus that's able to be shot in the air and spawned, and the only thing that I think that gives people pause to that is that the winds can shift back in your direction and you end up causing your own demise. So I think, and that's one of the reasons why those international treaties were created, where the countries collectively said that one, we are going to make a concerted effort not to destroy the planet through nuclear war, or that we are going to destroy the planet through biological warfare. Now, obviously, not everybody's going to operate under those same set of rules, but for the most part, that's the social contract that leaders of the world have collectively decided to enter into with each other. And so far it's been good, but that doesn't mean that it's going to continue that way, but nor does it mean that somebody is, sitting in a back room waiting for the opportunity to, unleash a virus on the world. Where's your mind on the Hanta virus and everything that's going on with that?
I think that this just shows the importance of having proper borders. I mean, measles was eradicated how long ago in the United States?
Back in the 60s, but then until recently. So some people,
I'm not surprised.
RFK.
But are you surprised? I'm not surprised that you see measles. It's an obvious symptom of the immigration policies that the United States has had for the last few years. You're letting, think about it. You're letting hundreds of thousands of people in from migrants, right? Undocumented migrants, into this country that probably have measles or are carrying diseases that were not eliminated in those host countries. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, come on, think about it, Len. Let's think about it. Nicolas Maduro wasn't exactly making sure all his Venezuelans were vaccinated and healthy. I'm sure he was, but he wasn't making sure they were. I'm sure everybody in Colombia is not making sure. Anything south of the United States border is not 100% tip top. And everybody knows that. You just pick any country down there. So of course it's not a surprise to me that you see this kind of stuff. And I know you can look at it and go, "Oh, Chris, you're just so mean about it," but it's not. It's numbers.
I think you can look and make a logical.
How could you say it? Because think about it.
I'll tell you specifically. How could you measles? It's easy.
How can you have measles in the United States if everybody's vaccinated?
Okay, RFK comes into office. Now, I don't know this is to be true, but I'm giving you another argument to counter your argument.
Yeah, sure. I'm open to hearing it.
RFK gets in. He's appointed as, the person who's doing his job with the White House. And he has this anti-vaccination perspective. People lose belief that vaccinations are important. Fewer people are getting vaccinated now. It's documented that there's a smaller percentage now, albeit it's still over 90% of people who do get vaccinated, but fewer and fewer people are getting vaccinated because there's a lack of trust in the whole efficacy of getting vaccinated. So fewer people get vaccinated, more people are going to get different types of diseases. So there is a correlation between the policies that RFK has enacted and a decrease in vaccination. And there's a correlation between a decrease in vaccinations and an increase in measles. Now, to say that one causes the other, I think is reckless because it's not conclusive. And that's the same argument that I would give to the immigrant argument. Yes, there are, because here's the thing. If we go based on your perspective, I would say that there's a counter argument to that, which is this. On the one hand, we argue the fact that Trump drove down the numbers of immigrants. There's been fewer immigrants coming to this country than just about any other time because his immigration policy has been very effective. So if measles are going up and immigration is going down, there's not a causal relationship there. So
but there's lag. There's lag in data. There's lag.
You can justify it and say that, but I'm saying like, with RFK and the measles and his vaccination stance, there's at least causality there. And so
not that fast. There's no way that if that's the case, they all need to be in Congress and Senate right now. You're telling me that policy went that fast down into they need to come to California, Len.
Okay.
But Chris, it's taken 20 years to even argue about how much the budget is for a train there to get people to have measles outbreak in 14 months. because if an anti-vax stance, there's still people getting vaccinated. That's because you dumped in 500 million more people that are from countries that don't have vaccines to begin with.
But Chris, okay, your argument loses weight only because measles isn't something that has like a year-long incubation period. Right? Like I can understand if you know, if
no way it has to do with the fact how old are these people getting measles? If I find out that these people that are getting measles are not infant or that are not infant children, Len, you're in big trouble, bro. Thank God. I was 15 years old and I was never vaccinated, and I got it all of a sudden because Eduardo that came to live with me.
See, you better stop. Hey, that's not me. You check him. Man, if our audience was huge, you'd get killed, and you should, because I was wrong.
But it's true. It's a true scenario. So why would you tell me it's not? Is not the way it happens? It's not being. It's not. But that's not how it happened.
There's no causal relationship. So like you're making the argument. So
but it's a scientific theory. It's a theory nonetheless, is it not? I mean, Munn would go to that data set first. If we have an influx in the population from areas that are not as tidy as we are with the vaccination schedules, I'm sure that's a very good way to start if I'm a detective.
I would buy that argument more for what is it? When you, oh my gosh, there's an incubation period of 72 hours, TB, tuberculosis. Now, if you made that argument for tuberculosis, I would be with you, because there are countries that are hotbeds for tuberculosis. But measles is not one of those diseases that exist everywhere else except for the United States. Measles, by and large, have been eradicated worldwide. And so you make the argument that because there was an influx of immigrants under previous administrations, but now all of a sudden measles start to break out. Dude, stop it, Chris. There's more causality with the reduction in vaccinations.
Not too fast,
bro. No, it's not
too fast. Too fast. How does that happen that fast?
So we'll have to publish some numbers to find out if we have.
We're gonna find the numbers on this, Len, and I promise you, like,
I bet you kids that weren't vaccinated. I bet you it is. That's.
You think so? You think it's that?
Okay. I do.
So where do they get it then from? If everyone else is vaccinated, where are they getting it from then?
I'm certainly not a doctor and I'm not qualified to give an answer. So my suggestion is that, okay, if I'm more prone to different types of diseases that come into my body, and I don't have the immune system or whatever to fight it off, my T cells aren't numerous enough to get rid of it. They got to come from somewhere. But typically, if you're vaccinated or you have a really good immune system or both, then your body fights it off. Our bodies are being bombarded all the time with different diseases and germs and all of those things. So
I remember when I was growing up a kid, people would always say, if human beings were reinvented today, you'd have 5 livers. Well, Len, always a pleasure. With that being said, guys, if you like the content, like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Len, have a phenomenal week.
All right. Have a good one.
Conversation has given you clarity on your next steps. Please share this episode with someone who's walking the same path. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss future episodes. And remember, planning ahead isn't just prudent, it's an act of care. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on The Family Office.